Greetings, everybody. We have returned once again. We are here to entertain you by having a look at that cute little Civivi Odium.
It's small.
It's cute. No.
We shocked people by being on time. I appreciate that.
Scary, isn't it?
Don't expect it again.
Hey.
It's how you live stream better, right?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes. We'll see what happens next week.
We'll see.
So yeah, today playing around with my bailout.
Bailout. I need to put that knife back in my pocket. It's too good.
Yeah. I got a little chip in the enamel though.
Oh no. Battle scars. What caused that?
No idea.
Okay, fair enough.
Life caused it. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a good reason.
What's the knife in your hand?
This?
Yeah.
This one here? That's the ZT450.
It looks like you have
the other one.
The other one?
I don't know.
That's not a, that's
I
not
just
a
tried to
knife.
confuse you because you were like, this knife? No, the other knife.
That's just
this.
mean.
That's a totally different thing. Yeah.
Derailed.
450 ZT. ZT 450. One of those two things. Titanium S35. Goodness.
Sinkovich.
Mhm.
Shout out
Think
to
of
the
it.
boys.
Smooth as F.
Yeah.
Smooth as butter.
Well, shout out to the guys that are joining us. All right, don't shout out to the guys that are joining us. Hey,
He'll
Zig, say
do
that.
it after we all do the pocket dumps.
Yeah, we normally wait until after the pocket dumps to get to that.
I'm rocking the techno too. The greenness, the goodness.
The goodness.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. I've been carrying this guy today because the 707's been outshining it lately, but this is an excellent knife. It's the native with S90 and fluted carbon fiber. Carbon Fruber.
The best native.
Is that fruited carbon fiber?
It's fluted carbon Fruber.
Oh, I would use an R in that. Fruited.
Fruited?
Fruited.
Fretted.
I'm fretting. Awful.
All right, now you can do your job.
Yeah. What's going on, guys? Zinks, Ben, Justin, how y'all doing tonight? What are you guys carrying?
Good evening. Yep, and as we wait for the answer, I will remind everyone to make sure that you like and subscribe, or else you will be cursed that every time you go to open up your bag of chips, it will open up too fast and tear down the side, and chips will spill out. Always.
That's
no matter
much,
what. Chips.
Too far.
Everywhere.
That's much worse than any of the gross shit I came up with.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe.
Just gotta like and subscribe now. That's all there is to it.
True story.
All right.
Ben's rocking his Best Tech Grampus.
You've been liking that knife a lot lately, hey? Good stuff.
Indeed.
It's not bad.
Beer.
Are you
All right,
refreshed?
cool. Zinks is carrying the Spidey Chef.
Nice.
Very nice. Goes sleesh knives. I don't know. Good for him. I like his stuff.
You don't say.
That was words.
I was carrying
I don't
a
know if it's
techno,
sentence,
so
but it was
you know.
words.
Yeah, exactly.
Indeed. And apparently, Justin's not carrying a knife tonight because he hasn't answered. So there.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a shame.
Yep.
On with the show then.
I guess so.
Yeah. Who's under the gun first?
Who is under the gun first? Do we want to go high? Do we want to go low?
Let's surprise.
All right, I'll go first.
Sure.
All righty.
I didn't go first last week, did I?
I don't remember. No one went first last week because we did the CRKT
There
stuff.
you go.
We just
Oh.
rambled. All sorts of rambling.
Yeah, it was.
Just a quick aside to say what's going on to Darren. How's it going tonight, brother?
Hey, brother.
Nice to see you.
Excuse me. Beer burp.
Gross.
Everybody gets one.
They smell like grapefruit.
Good for you.
Next score.
Exactly.
Polls doesn't matter. All right, so on to my score.
That's enough of that. Yeah.
You had your chance. I'm sorry.
I tried. Justin actually did give us a response, and apparently his pants are just all the way over there. He's carrying his Rook 801 SB. So now it's a thing we can't unknow that Justin's not wearing pants while he watches us.
He could be wearing shorts.
He has mentioned that before.
No. On that note, my score.
Yeah.
I gave the Odium an 80, which is a B grade. And cost versus materials and cost versus fit and finish, I gave it a 9. Civivi makes some really nice stuff for the price you're paying for them. It's kind of hard to beat fit and finish, especially if you go to Civivi's website and you look at what this thing's supposed to sell for. It's like $62 American, which pretty damn good price. Cutting ability, I gave it an 8. It seems to have pretty good edge geometry. It's not overly thick at the spine, and it's got a pretty good wide, almost like leaf bladey kind of shape to it. So it has a lot of taper room down to a nice thin edge. Ergonomic execution, I gave it a 7 because even though it does fit my hand fairly well, there are going to be the people out there like Nigel that it's just going to be a little too small for. And by a little, I'm kind of under exaggerating. There's got to be a word for that somewhere, right? And for lock of an actuation, I gave it a 9 as well because that thing fires. Every time you hit that flipper, that thing pops open really, really nice. It finger flicks really nice, like a Spidey flick. I even got it to pop with my thumb a few times, which isn't the easiest thing in the world to do to overcome that detent, but it's still, when you do get it to work, it fires that blade real nice and fast. On the personal side of things, I gave it 7 and 8s across the board.
I hate you so much. I'm also going to interject and say, hey, Francis, what's going on there?
Yes.
Glad you joined us. And I don't know what a Alliance Design Mini Slim Pickens is, but I'm sure that it's going to make us drool.
I was going to say, it's,
anyway.
It's for sure.
Probably make me jealous. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much every time.
Across the board, you say.
Yeah, 7 and 8s across the board.
At least what he said was factual. It's
Yeah, for material choice, I gave it an 8, especially at that price point. It's right in there with knives like the QSP Penguin as far as fit and finish. It's D2, which for $60 I am never going to complain about. I've paid over $100 for that exact same steel out of Benchmade. So whatever. The aesthetics, it's definitely got kind of, it's not Spyderco-esque, but it is kind of with that forward finger choil and the leaf-shaped blade. But it's not a humpy leaf blade, which I like, if that makes sense. Pocket ergos, it was going to be an 8, but I knocked a point down because I was noticing when I had it in my pocket that the backspacer, which has jimping on the back that is raised above the spine of the knife, I was able to catch my hand pretty good with that and kind of drag the crap out of the side of my hand. Ergonomic preference, I gave it an 8, especially in that with your finger in that front finger choil. Feels really good in hand. I'm even able to get that knife in my hand, all 4 fingers on it, without using the finger choil at all. It gets a little cramped, but I can actually do it. And then enthusiasm, I gave it a 7 because I like seeing stuff out of Civivi. It's interesting what you can get for a really good price. And just a quick aside to say, what's going on, Mr. Fisk? How you doing tonight? What you carrying?
Hey.
Good day, Mr. Fisk. So, seeing how we decided to surprise people and whatnot, let's bounce around a little bit.
Mhm.
Let's go with my score.
All right.
All right.
That's random. Let's do it.
Exactly.
I like it.
Because it's not exactly in the same sort of grade.
Oh,
I can't imagine it's going to be an 80.
Jimmy, that's something. I'll let you explain what you got there. Nice picture again, Joe. Jesus, man. You took some nice pictures of this thing.
Glad to hear.
Yeah.
Why did it not come up?
Carrying an assisted knife? Didn't he give me a hard... Fisk is carrying a boost right now. I thought he got a hard time about EDCing a blur in my rotation. I'm pretty sure that was a comment from like 2 months ago. I don't forget.
Dennis doesn't hold a grudge. It's no.
It's the assistant. I see.
That's what they all say.
Yep.
So yeah, now that I figured out how to get my score up, I gave it a 66, coming in at a C minus.
Boom.
Yep.
Oh wait, that's not yours sheet.
Way to go, Joe.
I just want to make a quick aside to
There
say
we
to Francis, we're going to get there for sure. We're going to get there. We're going to have that topic, that conversation.
Cool. So yeah. For objective side, it did really good because yeah, it's a Civivi. They're anyone that I've handled and played with, they're always really nicely done, very clean, very well done, or fit and finish wise and stuff like that. So 8 for cost versus materials, 9 for cost versus fit and finish. Cutting ability was an 8 because that's a pretty nice hollow grind on that fairly tall blade. So it still has some really nice slicey action to it. Ergonomic execution was low side for objectives, gave it a 6 because honestly it seems very awkward, not just from my hands, just because it's in an odd size in a way a little bit. And then
And by odd size, you mean tiny. I don't know if you've got any in the hand references for this knife, but
I do.
Holy,
just super quick. I will pop up a picture of a comparison shot I did between. Oh, where the hell did that go? I thought I had this ready to go, but
yeah.
There's
and as far as best reference that I can give for like my hands, it was a 2.5 finger grip. Like it wasn't even an awkward 3 finger. It was a 2.5.
Here's a size comparison. Here, yeah, that's the best way around. Trying to match the screen. So my hand fills up the native. I'd like to wear a large size glove. That's comfortable for me, just to give you a size reference. And you can see the Civivi right below the native there.
I would put it in the, and I don't know if anyone ever held it, but the little Batum from CRKT in kind of that small realm where it's like a finger choil, but not quite a finger choil, but it was slightly fatter than the Odium, which is saying something because the Odium's a fat little beast for
right.
Anyway, continue on with your personal score there.
Yeah. Material choice gave it a 7 because D2 and G10, that's not bad options. They're nice for sure. Aesthetics gave it a 5 because I do find it kind of awkward. It's got that weird cartoony bulldog sort of look to it where the dog's got that really, really skinny back legs that are like stretched way out and then like the thick chest and upper body.
I had to bring up the picture again just to, because I think you're kind of right on that. Yeah.
So I find the blade a little thick and heavy compared to the handle, so it's a little off. I actually gave it a 9 for the pocket ergos. It's tiny and I could barely feel it unless I was trying to.
Oh yeah, I heard it.
And then for ergonomic preference, gave it a 3 because, 2.5 awkward finger grip and the forward finger choil is not quite a proper finger choil for these hands. So yeah, I'd be scared.
Awkward fingers.
Oh yeah.
Also, what's going on, John? How you doing tonight?
Good day. And then for enthusiasm, I gave it a 4 because, yeah, like I mentioned, aesthetics, it doesn't really do it for me. And now getting it in hand and seeing how small it actually is, yeah, other than how nice and clean and how smooth the action is, yeah, I'm not that keen on it.
Fair.
Ta-da!
Yeah.
All right. I'm curious because we jumped ahead a little bit on why your lockup and actuation was a 7.
Oh. It's a liner lock. They do really, really nice. Yeah, like it was just good middle ground, nothing bad, nothing outstanding.
All right.
Yeah. It was very, very smooth, that's for sure.
You and I actually agreed on the number of places that I didn't expect us to, but yeah. Actually, on that note, I'd like to go next.
For sure.
All right.
As soon as my computer loads my spreadsheet, there we go. So,
John thinks that's his odium. We got bad news. No, I'm just.
Yeah,
I think you got the word "is" mixed up there.
Yeah.
Was. I gave this thing a 73. C plus. It objectively, I think it did fairly well. 8 and 9 for cost, materials and cost and finish.
You put 2 asterisks up? Oh, come on, man.
No, they basically just referring to the same thing. It's the cost aspect of both. If you're looking,
referring to the same thing.
Yes. If you're buying it, if you're buying it in Canada, it's a lot of the retailers I say that have it. Not going to name any names, but they are severely overcharging for that knife, given MSRP and given what it should convert to. So if you're buying it in the States and you're getting like the 60 or 50 that it generally goes for, you're getting a great deal. I think it's well made. Cutting ability gets an 8 for the reasons touched upon. It's a pretty decent little blade. Ergonomic execution objectively gets a 7, and lockup and actuation also gets a 7. That pocket clip is particularly high. I'm actually just going to throw up a picture here.
He's going to throw up.
I'm going to throw up again. So that pocket clip, it shoots out really, really high from the handle. The Penguin, by comparison, is fairly slender, and yes, the clip does come from behind the handle, but at the same time, it sticks out enough that I can feel it in my hand as I'm going to use it. Not quite enough to cause discomfort amounting to pain, but it's not great. Personally, this thing kind of underwhelmed me a little bit. Material choice is good. I like G10, I like D2, I like liner locks. The aesthetics, it's a decent looking knife. It's a little snubby. Pocket ergo's got an 8. It's decent enough. A little bit more sticks up out of the pocket than I'd like for a knife that small, but it's not the end of any worlds. Ergonomic preference gets a 6. This thing isn't super comfortable in my hand. And the only thing I could really amount it to is the difference between the Native 5's choil versus the choil given here right up next to the blade. I'll just bring up that picture again. So it's actually like kind of sharp right next to where your finger is supposed to sit. So I find that a little bit iffy. Not quite as iffy as Nigel did when he sliced his finger open on the oh wow, I almost called that the shaman. The smock here. This is a pretty...
Well, the thing is your smock, they didn't pinch the barb on that one. And so it's just got a little more of a...
Yeah, exactly. So nobody cut themselves on the Odium.
Like the Odium, I can get my finger in there, but I'm sure if I tried to use the knife in any way and move around, it would cut me because there's a little bit of pressure up from the corner.
Yeah,
this like is I said, the mini Batum or like those type of the mini Amicus.
Similar
also
sort
was another one of those.
It's a similar sort of idea. I think ultimately what it comes down to, just on the personal side, I want to be able to have a super secure grip on a knife, regardless of what the size is. Like, I can get a very secure grip on this little fixed blade, even though this is really barely a 3-finger grip. I can still feel like, okay, this is locked in. It's not going anywhere. The Odium, I don't feel like I can get that grip in any grip without feeling mildly uncomfortable, but it's not really a knife that I plan on like doing a ton of shaving off of wood or something similar to that. It just didn't feel super comfortable in my hand. So Enthusiasm got a 6. It's not something I'd say don't pick up. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. But it's not something that I'm personally super excited about, especially when there's choils like this that are actually comfortable and feel safe.
I'm actually glad you went back to that. I wanted to say I wish more companies would do finger choils like Spyderco does, where it's clearly designed for your finger to go there. It's not just a half circle cut out of the blade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't look as clean, I'll admit. I like the way that the Odium looks in that regard. But yeah, just not quite 100% there in terms of gription. Although, and this...
Gription.
That needs to be a new category. I'm telling you.
So, got another picture here, and you can see the chamfering done on the liner. Just wanted to highlight that's a really nice touch. That I'm super happy that was included. Same thing around the opening hole here. It doesn't get in the way of it opening, but it cleans up the look of the knife for sure.
Even the spine has a decent chamfer to it too.
Yeah, right along that edge.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah. That's basically all I wanted to say. Yeah. Not for me, but I could very easily see this being somebody else's favorite, especially in cases where you just want like a really small folder to do some chores with. It's not bad.
Indeed.
Next score?
All right.
Next score.
That's me. I'm like,
Yes.
is that what I scored it? Really? Okay. Yeah, okay.
I don't know. You tell me.
I went up and down quite a bit on this one. Did everyone else get a 76?
I think you're the second highest.
Gave it? Yeah.
I think it was an 80, 76, 73, 66.
At one point, I had a 79 or an 80, and I reconsidered a whole bunch of different things, right? So,
what did you give it?
Yeah, I gave it a 76, which is a B minus. It hovered on the B category because a B is a 78, and it was up into the 78, 79s for quite a while, and I was looking at a couple different things. And I got biased because this thing has ceramic ball bearings for the, it also has a ceramic detent as well. Rounded G10, it's just not slabs of G10, right? Like it's got a lot going for it. So the materials, again, the 9 type of thing, lockup and actuation, what I loved about it is how much I could Spidey flick it. That's why the detent, Paul dabbled on how much the detent was just like dialed in and crisp, and it was for the flipper, but I'm not a flipper guy, so I instantly, as soon as there was a hole, I was like, can you do it? And it was fantastic. Yeah. And sure enough, with that second finger, it fell right in place like no problem. Yeah.
That's how you do it, eh? Just like this?
Well, you gotta.
Well, you test the waters first, and then once you know that you can do it successfully, then let the flick begin, right? So, anyway.
Don't like any of that.
So, on the personal side of things, material choices, yeah, ceramic ball bearings. Like, I was really I should have put asterisks on these ones because I was torn on the material choices as well as the aesthetics. Right. I really like the front end of the blade, that big drop point, Hidden Canyon, Viper Bear Roost drop point. It has a lot going for it for that. But Nigel's right on and Joe with the back end of the handle, just kind of like skinny bulldog, not sure where to go type of thing, right? Mm-hmm. So, pocket ergos, I dabbled with that as well as far as a 9 goes. But this thing is over 2.5 ounces for how small it is. So yes, it doesn't take up a lot of room in the pocket, but considering what else is on the market right now, like Osborne is carbon fiber one is lighter than that type of thing. Bug outs are blowing them on. So for how small that knife is, that's actually a little bit of a tank, like no more so than a mini H&K, and I love it. But I probably could beat the crap out of a mini H&K a lot more than I probably could this Odium, given how it's designed, right?
Its weight follows its aesthetic. Its weight follows its aesthetic. It's just a little bulldog.
Yeah. It's got a good bark. It's got a good bark to it, right? So, the ergonomic execution, I was actually putting it into more of a pocket keychain knife for Nigel, never using the finger choil because I probably rarely would too. And just in this 2-finger kind of cute knife, I gave it an 8 on the objective side, whereas the 7, I was like, well, no, that choil is definitely comes into play on the personal side of things for sure. And then the enthusiasm. I like this knife. It's a cool little knife, but there's a lot of things that don't go for it for my personal preference. Ball bearings and flippers. Yeah, you already got 2 points against you. So no, it's So it's hard to get all jacked up about. I like the D2 for the price point, but what we didn't dabble on was the Ferrum Forge thing.
Well, yeah.
We alluded.
So what's the problem?
They've
why
got
don't you
a
explain it?
mini Archbishop, and I'm not sure if there's actually credit where credit is due, or if they just came out with the exact same knife for 2 different companies.
Well, here's maybe.
But there's.
I've got maybe the answer to that quandary.
Differences.
Here's here's an answer to that. So you see the picture of the Ferrum Forge here, the mini Archbishop. Well, here's a close up on the reverse with a certain logo that's visible for the Odium. I'll just wait for that to load in.
Okay.
It is a Ferrum Forge design. There you go.
So they just they rebranded it under a Civivi. Now the interesting thing is the Ferrum Forge is a 9CR18 for $80 American directly on Ferrum Forge's website. The Civivi Odium is D2 at $62.
It sure is.
And then the other thing is they don't charge more for their black blade on the Civivi Odium. It's the same as the Stonewash blade. It's $62 if you want the black blade for it, right? So, I don't know. I would actually take the Civivi option over the Ferrum Forge 9CR18 for more money.
Yeah. All the time.
I mean,
I just want to quickly point out, just real quick, when I was alluding earlier to Francis, he asked, "Is the Odium a Ferrum Forge design?" The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Now, the other thing I will point out, actually, and I was super curious about it, so I may or may not have taken a pocket clip off of this knife just to see what was going on, right? So I was really curious why they countersunk 1 screw in where the pocket clip was on the face side and not 2 screws. And they left it like that. Now, if you bring up the Ferrum Forge knife again there, Joe, you'll actually see that it does have a center screw in it, whereas the Civivi only has the 2 screws on the face side. Taking it off, I actually figured out that the screw itself is holding the G10 scale onto the liner. Whereas on the Ferrum Forge, it's got the extra screw and it's not as pertinent or whatever. But they're actually just cleaning it up a little bit and getting rid of that center screw and countersinking 1, right? But yeah.
Another reason I would take the Civivi one over the Ferrum Forge.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
You can't
also, apparently they're both made by Civivi, the Archbishop and the Odium. So
and that makes sense for 9CR18 because
So, I know people have been saying really nice things about 9CR.
Hang on, one more thing before I get onto the whole screw thing with the pocket clip thing. I don't know how I feel about them all being in black. And the black screws with the black clip and the satin hardware and the satin liners. And I saw some other knife reviews that kind of brought up the same thing, but it's one of the things that I noticed right off the bat was they should have had a satin clip with satin screws.
Yeah, for sure.
Until you see the orange one, and I'm like, all right, you can put a black screws and black clips on that one. That's cool. I'm down.
I think the reason why I don't mind it is because of the black within the logo screw.
Yeah.
It kind of ties in and balances that out.
And people talk about that as far as billboarding goes, but I actually love that billboarding.
Mhm.
Like compared to everything else that's spattered across the blade and first production runs and blah, 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 blah type of thing. Just
Yeah.
that you know who we are, Bing, right there on the pivot.
Yep.
I dig it. I dig it a lot.
Yeah, they're just nice, subtle, clean. Yeah, that's
And
good.
it leaves the blade
Good.
sterile, at least on the presentation side, which is kind of nice.
Well, until you put it onto the left-handed clip, and then I gotta see that little
Nobody cares
tiny.
about you.
Well,
Yeah.
but the other thing is, even on the non-presentation side, the FF is tiny, the D2 is tiny. It's up in the top little corner behind the
Yeah.
hole on this knife. So
D2's here. Yeah, it's super small. It's super minimal.
Yep.
Oh, and the other thing I didn't notice as well, and I don't know if the Fair and Forge version has it, but if you're on Civivi's website and you're actually looking at the G10 version, you can see the skeletonizing, the JG10 ones.
Okay.
You can see the skeletonizing like nobody's business. I didn't realize the stainless steel liners were that skeletonized.
Hey,
The one thing that I really like about Civivi designs is, like you were talking before about the way the screws were holding the G10 to the liner. You can probably remove, like with my rustic gent, I can remove the scales away from the liners, and the liners are still screwed together and they still hold the blade. So you can like modify and work on your knife without completely disassembling it, which is pretty damn nice.
Mhm.
And then, okay, here, other weird thing. I don't know if you guys actually knew about this knife. I watched the disassembly of this knife. Instead of having because the C doesn't have a screw, so obviously there's something holding the one-way pivot in place, and most things would just be like a D-shaped pivot on it.
Mhm.
This thing, the C has a weird little like detenty tab thing
Okay, like a key.
underneath it. Yeah, exactly. So you
Yeah.
put that in to hold that in place, and then the pivot goes onto the other side.
Okay.
So your C's always in the right spot, which
So
is nice.
the C, if it's raised up a little bit, it means that's not aligned. And as
Hmm.
soon as that C becomes flush with the rest of the handle, it means you've got that thing keyed in and you can put it. But it's not a D like you would think every other company out there does that way.
Easiest thing, just kind of flat side.
Yeah.
Maybe it's cast or something like that, and they can do it in casting easily.
It's
or
weird.
something.
I don't know if I like it more. I think I like the D thing more, just strength integrally, rather than just a single little key thing. It looked almost as big as just like a detent ball sized fitting that snugs in.
Fair enough.
Don't over tighten your pivot.
Well, or if it's too loose, it could start to twist on you and like start to groove if it's got
Right.
room to play and stuff as well, right? So just things I did not know, and I don't know if more Civivis are like that or not. Like your
The rustic
Rustic
jet
Jet,
definitely is.
it has that little key tab. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. Things to note.
Cool.
All right. I guess that does it for
Really
everybody's
cool.
scores.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the new thing. We've got the leaderboard, which we're going to talk about for probably 2 episodes in Ramble. So we're going to bring it up. But are we able to actually add that score onto?
Well, before we get onto that, I was just going to remind everyone about the contest.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah. Make sure you go check out the appropriate video from the January 3rd live stream and answer the question that is hidden within, and you will be entered into the contest. Yay!
Mr. Fisk is screaming for Professor.
Do it because the professor wants you to. That's why.
There you go.
Professor knows what's best.
Of course he does.
He knows floof. That's what he knows.
Almost
Floof.
almost exclusively. Yeah.
Did that give us enough time for you to get the leaderboard thingy up?
No. It's
What does it do with that at all?
No, it's still loading. It's
Look
not
at
a-
his face.
It's not a big file. It shouldn't take that long.
I'm super curious. We have a little more of a spread this time around than we normally do. The last couple weeks, last month or so, we've been really kind of tight on our scores. And then Nigel, I think reflecting on the scoreboard hatery, brought the hate through tonight. I think there was some scoreboard influence tonight that just putting everything in place, right?
I just got to be true to myself.
I see. And when you put it on paper, man, it's easy to see. You're slipping, man. The love's coming through, and you got to shut that shit down. It's like,
Indeed.
All right.
Mr. Fisk is protesting that the board is supposed to be on Nigel's wall.
we are working on a physical board, but Jesus, man, one thing at a time. Like,
it'll come. Got to figure out the logistics and how it'll actually get set up, because I'm very not sure on that.
3M magnet boards. 3M magnet boards.
Well, no, like I can't drill into this material, and the ceiling above me is the ducting, so I can't drill into that to put hooks in to hang it. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do for that.
Sticky tack.
Yeah.
I don't know. Paul.
That's the 3M being the double-sided tape, the super strong, whatever stuff. Yeah. But that would be a permanent thing. You can get tape on one side with Velcro on the other, and just leave the strips up, and they would come off with the board.
Yeah.
So there's ways we can troubleshoot that.
Yeah.
So I did manage to get that ready. Our average score overall is 73.75. I'm going to organize it and see where that falls.
Oh, it took a hit tonight. Joe and Nigel all throwing it up in there. Like,
you're only 3 points higher than Joe.
Yes.
Bringing the H train.
Yeah.
But it really wanted to get that's right. It wanted to get a 79 or an 80. It really did.
It wanted.
That's that one.
The personal side of things, I had to dial it back. Like,
what's going on, Darren? Or what's going on? Have a good night, Darren.
Glad you could join us, man.
Nice seeing you. Take care, man. So
what did he get? Sorry?
It's 73.75 overall. You know what? I need to include another number row to just get ranking, but it would be number 33 out of all the ranked. Or sorry, -1? Yeah, 33. It would be number 33 in our rank.
Right next to, sorry to scroll down because you've only got the top. There we go.
Yep. It outpaces the Kapara, but it just falls short of the Tengu Flipper.
Ooh, I feel bad for that.
Oh, the Tengu just beat it. Okay, and then the Rook, the 875 titanium, that's the N690 one. It beat it too. What were we thinking, boys? There's no way that Rook should beat that. Well, anyway, Nigel might have different opinions.
Hey, I gave it a 69. You gave it a 76.
This is true. Actually, this is true. You gave both of these knives the same score, Dennis.
I also gave it a 76. Yeah, I sure did. Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's not my fault the Rook beat it.
I gave it a 73. So I gave both of them a 73. So don't look at
73. Me. Wow. Okay. So we got some similarities here.
Yeah, I tried pulling the Rook down, but no.
Nigel hated the Rook slightly less than he hated the Odium.
Which Rook is this?
That was the N690 titanium
carbon
original.
fiber with the.
I'm going to bring up a picture for all the kind viewers here tonight.
I gave it a 78. I gave it a low score.
But it beat out a PM3 lightweight. But that's because we had some hate train on those ones a little bit too.
And there's a picture of the Rook that we're talking about here. Titanium handled variant that they did. But yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it only lost out by 1/4 of a point for the next 3 knives above it. The Proper, the Rook, and the Tengu. It's not bad.
So yeah. Okay, I got questions. We got 2 episodes to talk about the
Yeah.
scoring chart because we got lots of Anyway,
Yeah. Before we jump in,
33 is out of how many though? What was our overall?
The overall
the
average?
overall number that we have.
knives that
Quantity.
we've got so far.
Oh, I believe 64.
So it came in 33 out of 60.
now. 65
Half
now.
inch.
Yep.
Yeah, not bad.
So it's split the middle, right? So it's not bad.
Indeed.
It's not bad.
So yeah, I'm going to jump in here and say we should get on our break before we delve into the scoring too much further. We
Yep.
will be going over a whole bunch of the grading, the top few, the bottom few, our plans for it and stuff like that. So
Oh yeah. Inputs, outputs, upputs, some
Throughputs.
downputs, but not many downputs. I don't know.
No.
It's, some
The all
throughputs.
over put.
Yeah. We're
Yep.
gonna play through real good.
So yeah, go empty out your bladder, refill your drink in the appropriate order, and we shall return shortly.